about alcoholism, and his audience is in other world in the United States. So Steve, what do you want us to go further about the discussion?
Well, I was behind scenes here running camera, and obviously you're overdressing right now. I'm underdressing. We're not in the same wardrobe here, so to speak. But there's something important I wanted to ask the doctor here, because he's obviously knowledgeable. I didn't quite pick up and understand everything in Tagalog, obviously. I'm American, but I was reading some of the stuff on the screen. And one of the hang-ups that I've had with a couple different people that wanted to come into our church is that they don't want to give up their wine. I was born in Napa Valley. It's a big wine area. My mother worked for a man by the name of Robert Mondavi. He brought wine from Italy, basically. He introduced it into the United States, trying to compete with the Italian market. The Italians, they talk about wine, a little wine with your meal and everything. It's good for the heart. And I'll just, you know, obviously you know a lot and probably know more than me on this. From a health perspective, and as I was listening to you, of course you've got these antioxidants, proanthocyanidin in the grape, but you've got the alcohol that destroys the liver. Okay, so I've never found any benefit that alcohol has to the liver, or to the blood, or to the kidneys. It's a toxic poison that you can put in your car and run an engine and you can drive down the road. That doesn't sound good for the body. Biblically, when we talk about wine, the word wine, I found in a dictionary, I can't remember if it was Webster's or what publisher, but I found, actually no, it was way going back into the Greek or the Hebrew, that there were 5 things used with the same word, wine. I forget what the Greek word or the Hebrew word.
The Greek word oinos, and then the Hebrew word yain, and the sikar.
So they were talking about grapes that were called wine. They were talking about the juice was wine. Vinegar was wine, which comes from that. Dried grapes, which we know as raisins, was called wine. You know, and then there was the fermented wine, which was the wine that really went bad. It was not good anymore. This seems to be a hot topic. It's a topic that's in debate by many people. They say that the wine that they gave, that Jesus turned the water into wine at the wedding, was fermented wine. Tell us, you know, in English, from a biblical and a health perspective, but especially biblical, why the wine Jesus turned from water into wine wouldn't have been fermented, and why we shouldn't, as Christians, especially Seventh-day Adventists, be drinking wine.
That's one issue that have been discussed for so many years, even among theologians. There are conflicting interpretation. But one thing that could be of great help is to differentiate between what is fermented and unfermented. Because in the Bible, there are texts that says wine is good, just like in 1 Timothy 5:23. It says that, drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake. And the most famous is during the wedding of Cana. At the wedding of Cana, when Jesus Christ made what we call water into wine. No? But you see, just like the Passover wine that was used by Christ and his disciples during the Passover supper, they were saying that it must be fermented wine. But let's start with being practical here. We know that Jesus is a good man. He was trying to set a good example in his own life. Could you imagine if there is a wedding and there are children and women over there, and they lack what they used to drink? It's actually grape juice. That's the normal beverages that they are taking when they have parties or events like weddings.
It's fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh. These are fresh wines. That's why when Jesus saw that they lack wine anymore, it's translated wine as well in the English Bible, but he was referring to unfermented wine. So, the first miracle was not turning water into fermented wine, but rather turning water into unfermented wine. In short, it's grape juice.
Right.
So, nowadays, we would buy some fruit juices. That's what we drink as beverages during parties.
Right. It takes time to create that alcohol, the buildup. The fermentation process takes time. And as I understand, fermentation and that whole process is a result of sin, right? Things didn't rot and decay. And when Adam and Eve saw the leaf fall out of the tree and it was dying, they cried when they saw plants die. And then eventually, you know, they had to kill a lamb. And that was part of an example because Jesus would die. So, you know, for me, looking at it, I think automatically, yeah, Jesus was a good man. He wasn't going to be giving fermented grape juice. So you said the key word you were saying, or group of words, was it was not fermented wine. It was new, fresh, good, you know, wine.
Yeah, in our
which means wine is not necessarily alcoholic beverage. I was noticing down here at Pure Gold, right before the New Year, a bunch of people buying these, you know, look like champagne bottles and with grapes and all this fancy foil. And all of those were 100% grape juice, no alcohol. It says right on there, no alcohol, contains no alcohol. These are just grape juice in a fancy bottle. You know, and I was looking at that and I was like, well, that man has children. Obviously, he wants to have a special occasion for the family. He's not going to be buying alcohol for his children. You know, Jesus, we are his children. I cannot see him buying something that would mess up our mind and disrupt our connection with him. Because the key to salvation is a relationship with Jesus and a connection with him through the mind. And alcohol disrupts the mind as well as the liver. Of course, it's going to hurt the liver, but you know, the only reason why people want that fermentation is so that they can escape their problems. And it doesn't make the problems go away. It doesn't make them better. It just creates a mental blockage, so that number one, they block the Holy Spirit. They don't have that prying or pricking of their conscience. They disconnect from God, and then they just do whatever they want, and they don't have to worry. And they don't. I mean, they obviously do have to worry, but at the time, I've never drank, but I've seen people that drink, and they are, you know, they're not normal. They're a little bit mentally off the time that they're under the influence of alcohol. So
not only spiritually but mentally, it really affects the decision making. That's why when you drink, don't drive.
Well, just think about it. When you're on a boat, I'm a sailor, and for some reason, sailors like to drink, and not Christian sailors, not Adventist obviously, but secular sailors. They like to take, you know, rum and different alcoholic, and it's not fun being on a boat with the captain drinking. It's scary. It's very, it's not good. And same with the family. You got your children, and my grandfather died an alcoholic in his 40s, I believe, of liver failure. And can you imagine an alcoholic being in charge at the helm and responsible for his wife, his children, and all the duties and the difficulties that come with raising a family, and then he's drinking, and just imagine the anguish that the kids go through when their dad is drunk or their mom is drunk. They're just worried, they're afraid, and of course it takes money that they don't have to buy it. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, if someone wants the proanthocyanidin antioxidant in grape juice, drink the grape juice. drink the good wine. Drink the wine, and it's available all through all the stores. There's many different kinds of grapes and different wines. So anyway, thanks guys. I'm just the camera guy here. I just popped in the set here just to ask that question and have it in English. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Ferds. Ferds is a
I just want to greet
Yes.
our friends from Bataan.
Bataan, greetings.
Nanonood, mga kaibigan natin mula sa Bataan. Ngayon ko lang nakita siya. Siguro friend natin lahat. At si Car, kasama ko sa work. Thank you kung naririnig mo ako. May version kami kanina ng Tagalog version. At kanina itong short message ngayon ay regarding sa for the benefit of our friends in other countries like USA, your subscriber, your followers. That's why we have this short discussion about alcoholism. So, ganun pa man, muli, pasalamat po kami sa inyong lahat at subaybayan nyo kami sapagkat we're doing a lot of series of health issues dito lang sa aming programa. Ang programa natin ay Kolapa. Kolapa. Kolapa.
I know it's a silly word. It's a funny sounding word.
Yeah.
It's the Hawaiian language only has half of the letters of the alphabet that we have in in English, and lots of K's and lots of. So that's a Hawaiian. It's the name of the street that I lived on, and so people started calling my house the Kolapa House of Charity. So that's where that started.
We're about to end now, so
yes.
thank you
to
everyone. Thank you sa mga nanonood at
thank you very much. God bless.
Okay, abangan nyo sa YouTube sa
God bless po.